Why don't we remember our past lives, or where we truly came from? Why does our soul seem to arrive blank with no memory or clear direction? In this video, I'll reveal why forgetting is essential for your growth and how the universe ensures you fulfill your spiritual purpose without interference from the rational mind. You'll discover why your soul chose to forget, and how that forgetting is, in fact, a profound act of love. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, your view of who you are will shift dramatically. What seems empty today will begin to make perfect sense. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel, because here you'll learn what your soul has been trying to tell you since before you were born. Each video is a step toward remembering why you came into this world. If you feel you've forgotten something important, it's because you're ready to remember. Perhaps you felt it already, a nostalgia without a name, a strange sense that there's something vital you should know, yet it remains hidden behind an invisible veil. You look at the sky, at time, at your own hands, and feel, I've been here before. But as you try to recall, everything slips away like mist. It's frustrating, I know. But what if I told you that this forgetting isn't a mistake? What if that very veil allows you to grow, to love, to choose, and to live with true freedom? Today, you'll understand why your soul chose to forget, and how this spiritual amnesia is the greatest act of courage it has ever taken. And when that makes sense, everything confusing in your life will start to fall into place. Seth, the non-physical consciousness channeled by Jane Roberts, was one of the first to explain that the soul's forgetting is intentional. It's not a flaw, it's a function. According to him, when we're born, our consciousness passes through a vibrational filter that temporarily blocks memories of other existences. This is not punishment or limitation, but an evolutionary choice. The soul chooses forgetting so that you can fully immerse yourself in the human experience, with genuine freedom to create, feel, and decide without direct influence from the past. It's as though each life is a sacred play, where you set aside the previous script so you can improvise and transform authentically. Seth says that if we remembered everything, we'd behave like actors reciting lines instead of co-creators of the now. Thus, forgetting is the gift of free will, a sacred interval in which to grow independently. This concept resonates across many spiritual traditions. In Hindu Vedanta, there's talk of the veil of Maya, an illusion that conceals our true nature so we can experience duality, and through it awaken to unity. In Spiritism, we learn that the soul incarnates with partially dormant awareness, specifically to avoid carrying traumas that might derail its current mission. And in Kabbalah, there's the teaching of Tzimtzum, the divine contraction that allows the soul to live the illusion of separation so it can rediscover the light with deep appreciation. All these traditions, in their unique languages, confirm one truth: forgetting is part of the plan. It doesn't distance us from who we are. It leads us step by step back to our inner home. Scientifically, although mainstream science doesn't officially recognize past lives, research challenges conventional explanations. Dr. Ian Stevenson of the University of Virginia documented over 2,500 cases of children who recalled past lives in astonishing detail. In many instances, these memories were verified against real documents, locations, and people. He found that these recollections tend to fade between ages 5 and 7, as if an internal mechanism suppresses them to protect psychological development. Neuroscience now acknowledges that human memory isn't confined to the brain alone, but distributed throughout the body and even the energy field. Where there's field, there's potential for reconnection. Greg Braden, Bridging Science and Spirituality, speaks of vibrational records encoded in our DNA, like emotional and experiential imprints from our lineage and even from other lives. He proposes that consciousness can access these memories when heart and brain reach a high coherence state. This reinforces the idea that forgetting isn't erasure, it's a dormancy. The soul's memory remains intact, but stored at deeper levels, waiting to be awakened. The key? Frequency, emotion, presence. Science is beginning to see there's more between birth and death than matter can explain, and the soul already knew that. So when we unite Seth's teachings with spiritual and scientific evidence, we realize that forgetting is divine technology. It doesn't weaken us, it frees us. It allows each life to be new, unique, authentic. It shields us from old wounds, delivers us into the present, and gives us a chance to love without fear, make mistakes without guilt, and choose with truth. And the most beautiful part is that even while forgetting, the soul remembers in dreams, synchronicities, intuitions, and encounters that touch us deeply. Forgetting isn't absence of memory. It's memory protected, awaiting the right moment to surface. And perhaps that moment is now beginning. The soul's forgetting of past lives isn't a cosmic system error. It's one of the most sophisticated elements of the divine plan. Upon incarnation, your soul enters a denser vibrational field in which part of its higher consciousness is temporarily veiled. This lets you live fully present in this life without bearing the direct burden of past experiences. Imagine if every emotion, loss, or mistake from previous lives were alive in your mind now. It would be unbearable. The soul knows this. That's why it chooses to forget. Forgetting so you can surrender completely to the here and now. Forgetting is the blank canvas on which a new masterpiece can be painted, and only those who forget can discover anew. Seth teaches that forgetting is a kind of vibrational contract the soul accepts before birth. He says without it, there would be no surprise, no real transformation. The soul always seeks expansion, and that expansion only comes with contrast, uncertainty, and true free will. If you remembered everything, you'd act on old conditioning rather than live authentically. The purpose of forgetting is to let you begin afresh, not as punishment, but as a new opportunity for evolution. It's like playing a character who gradually discovers that they're also the author of their own story. And the more you live, the more clues you find about who you really are. This veil also preserves relationships and opportunities in this new journey. If you remembered someone as your tormentor in another life, you might never open to forgiveness and healing. If you recalled being a king or an assassin, you could cling to vanity or guilt. The veil of forgetting levels the playing field, giving everyone a chance to start pure, unburdened by the past. It removes old masks so new choices can be made. And these choices are what truly matter to the soul, because transformation doesn't come from memory, it comes from what you do with the present. Another powerful spiritual aspect is that forgetting awakens the longing for awakening. That feeling of I've forgotten something, that nameless yearning is the soul's silent call to come home to itself. That inner void is an invitation to seek, and it's that very quest that ignites consciousness. If we remembered everything, there'd be no journey. And without journey, no true transformation. Forgetting, therefore, is not absence, it's catalyst. It sparks curiosity, intuition, thirst for something greater. And when you answer that call, you start to remember, not with the mind, but with the soul. Ultimately, forgetting is an act of love of the soul for you, of consciousness for freedom, of the universe for the process. To forget is the first step toward living deeply, because by forgetting what was, you get to become something even greater. And paradoxically, it is in forgetting that you begin to remember, not facts, but essence, not names, but vibration. And that remembrance is more powerful than any memory, because it doesn't come from the past, it comes from your eternal self, which was never lost, only waiting for the right moment to emerge. Seth teaches that the soul never truly loses its memories. It merely stores them in subtler levels of consciousness, beyond the reach of the ordinary rational mind. These memories vibrate in your energy field, waiting for the perfect moment to arise. According to him, the soul is a vast multidimensional system living simultaneously in many reality layers. With each incarnation, only a fraction of that total being manifests in the physical plane. It's like focusing a beam of light on one point of a screen, while the lamp itself remains lit, connected to countless other points. The soul's memory isn't linear or chronological, it's vibrational, and so it can be felt before it's consciously recalled. To Seth, everything you feel deeply without explanation, affinities, fears, talents, aversions, can be echoes of the soul's memory trying to manifest. That place you visit for the first time, but feel like you've lived there before. The person you just met, but feel you've known forever. The skill you never studied but instantly master. These are fragments of the greater memory dwelling within you. Seth says the soul leaves these clues strategically throughout life, as reminders for anyone awake enough to notice. Soul memory doesn't appear in books, but in everyday life, through emotion. Another revealing point is that according to Seth, soul memory adjusts to the purpose of the current incarnation. In other words, you haven't forgotten everything completely. You've simply deactivated what isn't needed now. What you need to know will come. What you don't need to remember will stay safely stored. This removes the burden of having to recall it all and shifts the focus to trust. The soul knows what it's doing, and when you live with presence, openness, and intention, those dormant memories begin to surface naturally. That's why sometimes a spiritual practice, a journey, a conversation, or even deep pain can awaken something in you that's always been there. Seth also speaks of vibrational convergence points, moments in life when distinct timelines cross and parts of the soul align. In those instances, you can access memories of other lives, spiritual planes, or even parallel versions of yourself. These points can't be forced. They're prepared along the journey and triggered by the vibration you carry. The more aligned you are with your essence, the more effortlessly these moments arise. And when they do, don't expect a memory with a beginning, middle, and end. Expect a deep feeling, a certainty without logic, a wordless remembrance, yet soaked in truth. In the end, Seth reminds us the soul isn't in a hurry. It doesn't measure evolution by how many memories are recovered, but by the quality of present awareness. Remembering who you once were is beautiful, but living with presence is even more powerful, because what transforms the soul isn't just what it knows, but what it does with what it feels now. That's why the true memory of the soul isn't in the eyes, but in the heart. And when you begin to live with the awakened heart, it reveals itself not as past, but as present power. Then you understand, you don't need to recall everything to be whole. You already are. Accessing soul memory isn't a mental effort, but a vibrational tuning. It's like a radio station. You don't hear the music by forcing the speaker. You hear it when you dial into the right frequency. The first key is creating inner silence. The soul speaks softly. You must quiet the outer world to hear it. Deep meditation, relaxation states, nature, contemplation, and conscious breathing are essential tools. In these states, the mind slows down, and the soul begins to express in images, feelings, and perceptions that arrive unannounced. Remembrance won't feel like opening a computer file. It will be a subtle but unmistakable sensory experience. And the more you trust, the deeper it goes. Another way to access these memories is to observe your emotional patterns with presence. Intense, seemingly disproportionate emotions can signal non-linear memories surfacing. Sometimes the fear you feel isn't yours. It belongs to another life. Sometimes the overwhelming empathy you have for a stranger isn't new. It's a reunion. The secret is not to judge what you feel, but to welcome it. Ask yourself honestly, does this belong only to this life? When you pose that question with an open heart, the soul answers. It may come as a vivid dream, a sudden shiver, tears for no clear reason, a déjà vu that freezes you. All these are reminders, fragments, invitations to remember. Art is also a powerful portal for awakening forgotten memories. Painting, singing, dancing, writing, playing instruments all create bridges between the conscious and the deep unconscious. Seth says the soul communicates through symbolism, and art is its language. Many report accessing past life memories while writing poetry or creating intuitive images. You don't need to analyze your creation to find meaning, just let it flow. The soul's language isn't meant to be translated to have value, it's meant to be felt. And each time you create with an open heart, you make space for something ancient to awaken. The body too holds memories not of this life, places that ache for no physical reason, automatic reactions, unexplained tensions, all can be the body-raising memories the mind can't reach. Therapies such as holotropic breathwork, conscious regression, family constellations, or even energy massages can open these silent files. But you don't need these techniques to access the essential. The soul speaks all the time, when you hear a name and feel a stir, when you visit a place and sense deep familiarity, when you have a dream so vivid you wake up in tears. In these small fissures, the soul reveals itself. Finally, the most important thing, don't seek to remember with anxiety. Soul remembrance isn't a spectacle, it's reconnection. It will come when you're vibrating with the frequency of truth. That means living with intention, authenticity, and love. The more aligned you are with who you are now, the more doors to the past will open naturally. And when they open, it won't be to relive traumas or titles. It will be to integrate fragments and become whole. The soul doesn't want you to remember to confuse you. It wants you to remember to set you free. And when you access that remembrance, your present gains new hues and life begins to pulse with real purpose. Remembering your essence changes everything, because you stop living like someone searching for meaning and start living like someone who knows why they're here. Soul remembrance doesn't hand you ready-made answers, it gives you direction. It lights your internal compass, showing you not just what to do, but who to be. This awareness changes your choices. You stop accepting what doesn't resonate with your soul and begin saying yes only to what expands you. When we remember we're eternal consciousness in a temporary body, fear fades. Comparison loses its grip. Hurry loses its meaning. Because you understand your path is unique, and fulfilling your mission isn't performance, it's embodying your truth with presence, love, and courage. Often remembrance arrives through crises, grief, loss, profound rupture, and suddenly something shifts. The veil tears, you see what was hidden. Then you understand. That pain wasn't the end, it was the call. The soul uses everything to wake you up. And when you begin to remember, even slowly, everything takes on a new tone. Your questions change, your goals change, your pace changes. You stop following external logic and start following the silent wisdom within. That doesn't mean abandoning everything. It means aligning everything with who you truly are. Spiritual remembrance also brings compassion. When you access other lives, you realize you've played every role: victim, villain, healer, destroyer, teacher, student. And that changes how you see others. Anger dissolves, judgment weakens. True humility emerges from soul to soul, and with it, a new form of service is born, living so that your presence heals. You learn you don't have to prove anything, you just have to remember and live with integrity. That radiates light, light that touches anyone ready to remember too. Your remembrance is the key to awakening others. Ultimately, remembering reconciles you with mystery. It means knowing you don't have to understand everything to trust. Soul remembrance doesn't bind you to the past. It anchors you in the present with purpose, because you know everything you lived before prepared you to be who you are now, and everything you do now shapes who you will be next. The wheel turns, but consciousness grows, and by remembering where you came from, you begin to walk with a new stance. More gratitude, more peace, more courage. Because you're no longer lost, you're awake. Now you understand, you don't remember because your soul knew forgetting was necessary. But even without recall, it never stopped guiding you. And maybe, at this very moment, it's whispering, "I am here, and I'm ready to remind you of everything." If this video touched your heart, comment below, "I choose to remember." Like, share, and subscribe, because on this channel, every video is a reunion with your deepest consciousness. Here you'll learn not only what you came to do, but who you were and where you're returning. In the next video, we'll reveal something even deeper: what happens between lives and how your soul chooses its next body and mission. Are you ready to remember that as well?